you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Life podcast with Meredith and Craig. This week we've got another doozy of an episode where we're going to give you another 5 reasons or 5 ways, I guess, to disconnect completely in your relationship.
Yeah, the first episode we did, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. I think it was episode 77?
77.
And it was really fun. We got a lot of good feedback on that episode, and we had a lot of fun making that episode. So we thought...
Part 2. But remember, this is satirical, and we're giving you 5 ways to completely disconnect from your relationship. So if you don't want to disconnect in your relationship, do the opposite of what we're going to say in this episode.
Yes.
Cool? Okay, let's just make sure that we're clear on that. So,
that's the first way to completely disconnect from your partner in your relationship.
the first way is...
Super effective.
The first way is to always keep score.
Oh.
You have to have a winner and there has to be a loser. You have to keep score. If you're not keeping score, you're not playing the game.
That will work really well to disconnect.
Right.
Because scorekeeping, that's going to breed resentment, frustration. It's going to piss your partner off to no end.
It's really important that you keep track of what you're doing in the relationship and what they're not doing. Like, it's really
running
important.
tally.
It's really important to understand that here are all the ways I'm showing up, and here are all the ways that you're really screwing up in this.
Yeah.
And we need to keep that score. Otherwise, how do you know?
Well, it's like an Olympic sport.
How
You've got to keep score.
How else do you disconnect?
How do you know who's winning?
Right, exactly.
More importantly, how do you know who's losing?
And then how do you, like, if you don't know who's winning and losing, then you don't know whether you're winning or losing. Like, you have to know so that you can win. If you don't know that you're not winning in this moment, you've got to take it up a notch and get in the game and win. If you want to disconnect, you need to keep score. Keep a running tally and make sure that you know who's got what on their plate and make it known to everybody.
You get bonus points if you let other people know the score in your relationship.
Yeah. Like
huge bonus points if you bring third parties in and let them know the score.
Like, hey, Mom, guess what? I'm really kicking ass in this relationship right now. I'm winning. Like, this is all the stuff that I'm doing. Mare, basically nothing. Just doing nothing. So anyway, that's one way to completely disconnect. Nothing says teamwork like constantly reminding your partner, you know, how much more you contribute than they do. Can you imagine, like, on a sports team, if, you know, the quarterback is throwing all these touchdowns to the receiver or whatever, one of his receivers, and then is just completely throwing the offensive line under the bus. Like, what are you doing? Like, look at all the scores that him and I are doing. And you lazy bums are just standing around up here doing nothing.
Wouldn't go over well.
Right?
I bet he gets sacked on the very next play.
Right? Anyway.
Relationships are about teamwork. The problem with scorekeeping is that for you to win, they have to lose. But the problem is you're on the same team. So when you win, I win. And when I win, you win. And if I lose, you lose. So I don't want to win and you lose, because if you lose, then I lose. We're on the same team, so we both win together.
But if you want to disconnect, keep score. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. Next one.
Another way to completely disconnect in your relationship, if that's what you're after, if that's your goal, and I'm not sure
If it is, let's talk about that.
I'm not sure why it would be, but if it is, then just criticize absolutely everything they do.
Make it your life's mission to point out every single flaw, mistake, misstep, misspoken word. Literally point out every single thing they do wrong. Every time.
So, hey, I noticed you were putting the bowls in the dishwasher on the top like that. That was so stupid. You should consider doing it this way.
Yeah, that's going to go over well. Side note, no one's ever going to load the dishwasher like you do, so just let it go.
Hey, I noticed you didn't read the kids the same book that I always read them when you put them to bed.
That
was
dumb.
a really big mistake. You should really do what I do when I do it.
Why do you fold the laundry like that? You don't know how to fold towels. Did you
socks-
never learn how to fold a towel?
Like, do you think that that's how you roll up socks? Like, the t-shirt is supposed to be tri-folded. Come on. This isn't your first day here.
Criticizing is a really good way to make sure your partner either completely stops trying and checks out of the relationship completely, or starts planning their exit strategy. Like, no one wants to spend time anywhere where they feel like they're always being criticized, they can never do anything right. No one feels good in that situation.
What if instead of criticism, we just went to gratitude? What if it was instead of like, what a dumb way to roll up socks? It was, thank you so much for rolling up those socks. I wasn't sure I was going to get to that today, but I'm glad that it got done. So thank you so much for taking that off my plate.
Or the dishes got washed. They might have been put in the dishwasher the wrong way, but man, am I glad someone put those dishes in and turned the dishwasher on.
Now I can eat cereal out of this bowl.
Soup, if you're Cassandra.
Shout out Cassandra, soup queen of
Chicago. So if by chance you don't want to completely disconnect, then recommend the gratitude approach. But if complete and utter disconnection is your goal, criticism works every time.
Criticize away. Number 3.
Oh, doozy. Common too. Expect them to read your mind. It sounds crazy, but it's so common.
If you want to disconnect, just have a bunch of needs and never communicate them to your partner, but then hold them to meeting them.
Uncommunicated expectations, great way to breed resentment. And sometimes we think that like, oh, he loves me so much, he knows what I need. Or we've been together so long, he should know this by now. Or like, we're pretty alike, he must also feel the same way. Like, he must understand this. No, she doesn't. He doesn't. They don't. If you don't specifically tell them, they don't know. So if you don't communicate, if you expect them to read your mind on what you want and what you need, and then when they inevitably don't, you get upset, sulky, eye roll, sarcasm, passive-aggressive, pissed off, that is a great way to breed resentment and disconnection.
How did this mofo not know that I needed him to help me with dinner tonight? Did you tell him? Her. If not, uncommunicated expectation, you're holding them to playing by a set of rules that you've not
shared with them.
They're playing a game they don't even know the rules for. How likely are you to win a game if you don't know the rules of the game?
Pretty unlikely.
Pretty unlikely. So if you have something that you need or that you want from your partner, you have to communicate that to them. And sometimes that can be a little bit awkward and a little bit uncomfortable. But I promise you it's less awkward and less uncomfortable than going through life having your needs not met and then
constantly frustrated,
resenting the other person for not having met them. So if you're looking for that, if you're looking for complete resentment and disconnection, then please, by all means, continue to have needs and wants and never communicate them to your partner.
If by some miracle, some chance, you actually want to be connected in your relationship, highly recommend the opposite. Share your needs. Have that slightly awkward conversation, maybe. Share what you want, share what you need. Communicate your expectations.
But that's not the goal here. We want to completely disconnect, remember? So remember, any needs and wants that you have, keep them bottled up and never share them with your partner. Disconnection, guaranteed.
Yeah. Hold on to that frustration, that resentment, and that passive-aggressiveness. Nothing says happy marriage like passive-aggressive.
Number 4, never, ever, ever apologize for anything ever. Ever, 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 ever.
I mean, it's a sign of weakness, right?
You can't be wrong. I've never been wrong in my life. I'm not going to apologize. That means that I've done something wrong.
No, make it your partner's fault.
Yeah,
They're wrong
100%.
every time.
100%. That's why I'm winning so hard. Go back to number 1. I'm keeping score.
The only exception to this rule is if when you apologize, you make it their fault. I'm sorry, but you made me feel like this. I'm sorry, but you made me do that. You can get away with one of those.
Yeah, if you want to apologize, do it like on their behalf, almost. Like it's like, I'm sorry, but you're kind of being a wuss.
I'm sorry, but...
I'm sorry you're a wuss. Like, apologize, but on their behalf.
Yeah.
You're allowed, like, if you want to disconnect, you're only allowed apologies on their behalf.
Yeah.
You don't admit wrong. You never admit wrong. Never admit wrong.
The apology always has to contain a but. If you're going to apologize at all. And, like, let's just highly recommend not apologizing if you want to be disconnected. But if somehow you're kind of cornered into an apology, always add a but.
I'm not sorry for yelling. You made me yell. You were so outrageous with your behavior, I yelled at you because that was the only reasonable response to what you did. So it's not my fault, it's yours.
It just guarantees unresolved conflict, resentment, and no accountability. And that is a recipe for a really crappy relationship that's completely disconnected.
Now, if you don't want to disconnect, like if you're looking for connection with your spouse, well, then you should maybe learn to apologize sincerely and understand that it's not about being right, it's about being happy and acknowledging that even though deep down you might think that your position was a sound one, it's completely subjective. It's just your point of view. And 99 people out of 100 might have a completely different point of view on that. So just understand that we all live in our own reality and it's ours alone. Not everyone else sees it that way. So if you want to reconnect with your spouse, apologize sincerely and own your stuff.
All right, last one, number 5. What's another way to completely disconnect in a relationship?
Just completely avoid anything that's uncomfortable, any uncomfortable conversations, any opportunities for growth. Just completely ignore those.
Can I say that this is my default, like my preferred method of operating? If I lived in a vacuum completely, I would like to avoid everything uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's completely understandable because, we're wired for comfort.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
But if you want to completely disconnect, follow through and never, ever approach any uncomfortable situation or conversation.
If there's an issue in your relationship that needs to be talked about, like there's an issue kind of percolating beneath the surface,
you bury that mofo under the rug.
Avoid it.
Never talk about it.
The plague. Avoid it.
Never
talk about it.
Bury it deep and never tell anyone where it's buried.
Like
all those bodies. Wait, what?
We need to talk about the budget.
No, sweep that under the rug. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Budget? What if we went for a walk?
Yeah, let's go for a walk. Avoid this subject altogether.
It definitely won't be there waiting later.
Oh, compounded like a snowball rolling downhill.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely just, whenever something uncomfortable comes up, there's a disagreement in your relationship, someone said something that kind of hurt you and you don't want to address it or put up a boundary or whatever, just move that to the side, bury it deep underground, bury it deep inside you.
Never to be seen again.
And never ever deal with it. It will never come up again. Mm-mm. Like that's all you need to do is just bury that thing.
Mm-hmm. Avoiding any kind of difficult or uncomfortable conversation ensures that nothing ever gets resolved. Ever. So you're going to fight about the same things over and over and over.
But I mean, why wouldn't
over again?
But I mean, there's comfort and familiarity. Why wouldn't we let's just live there?
Love that undercurrent of tension and passive aggressiveness.
Let's just live there.
Yeah.
Let's just live there.
So
it's better than dealing with the issue. Nobody wants to deal with their issues. Like issues, it's such an ick thing. I don't want to deal with it.
And then because nobody wants to deal with their issues because nobody then wants to actually be on the other side of it and not have to deal with their issues. Imagine if you, let's say, in
that sounds boring.
Magical world.
It kind of sounds boring.
You did want to actually get past your issues and feel close and connected again.
But then what would we do? What
then
would we
you
talk
would
about?
Actually talk about your dreams and your life and how much you're enjoying each other and the fun that you're having.
Nobody's interested in that.
Everyone's interested
in
that.
Airy-fairy stuff. Get out of here with that.
If you want to be connected and you want to have a strong, thriving relationship that's happy, talk about the uncomfortable shit. If that's your goal. If you want to have a happy, connected relationship. If you want to be unhappy, passive-aggressive, and disconnected,
I mean, if you're
avoid it.
If you're into happiness, if you're into dreams, if you're being on the same page, fine, I guess. Then maybe don't, avoid the uncomfortable stuff. But, I mean, come on. Who's into that?
So, obviously, highly sarcastic episode. Highly satirical. Highly.
Do the opposite of the things we said
Do the exact opposite of everything we said in this episode. But, before you do that, ask yourself a question. It was all kind of funny and jokey and whatever. It was fun. But, like I said, avoiding the uncomfortable stuff, if I could do it my way, I would avoid the uncomfortable stuff forever. But I don't want to live in a land of passive-aggressive tension and unresolved conflict for the rest of my life.
We would rather live in the land of sarcasm.
We would rather live in the land of connection and conversation and gratitude and enjoying each other and having fun and living our dreams. That's what we would rather do. Right. So then I have to deal with the uncomfortable conversations. So that just is what it is. So any of these 5 ring a little uncomfortable for you? Maybe you kind of expect them to read your mind just a little bit sometimes. That's a super duper common one. Maybe you find yourself keeping score. Get super honest with yourself. Which one of these do you find yourself falling prey to the most? And then what are you going to do about it? We've given you at least one opposite for each one. So decide which one you're going to tackle and find an action that you're going to do starting today. Make a change.
Thanks for joining us on this fun episode of the Royal Life Podcast, where we are teaching you how to disconnect from your spouse.
Share it with a friend, share it with your spouse, share it with someone who's looking for connection. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you about something really special we've created, the Infinite Relationship Mastermind. It's like a VIP backstage pass for anyone looking to level up any and all of the relationships in their life. And we're not just talking about the relationship with your spouse, though it does include that one. We're also talking about the relationships with yourself, your friends, your business partners, your family, all the important people in your life. This mastermind is for anyone ready to take all of their relationships to a whole new level. Whether you're thriving and you want to thrive even more, or you're feeling a little stuck and need some extra love and support.
We host exclusive live courses. We create a safe, no judgment space where members can just open up and honestly just have a ton of fun connecting with other amazing people who are building stronger relationships. And to be honest, the transformations we've seen are incredible, and it's exactly why we do what we do. It fills our heart like nothing else. Now, we are super protective of this community because it is all about trust, love, and support. So it's not for everybody. But if this does sound like it might tickle your fancy, then check out the link in the show notes and reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to chat and see if it's a fit for you. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of our journey on the road of life. And remember, you've got this, and we're here to help you every step of the way. So we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.
Road of life, yes, you're on.